You ready for your headliner? Yeah. I want y'all to put your hands together for Josh Johnson. A while back, I got invited to a friend's house, and he had cooked for me and some of his other friends. And when I say cooked, I mean like he went all out. You know, it was about 6 of us all together, right? But this is like multi-course, 5 hours of preparation, been cooking all day type thing. So by the time we get there, there's a whole spread across the table. There's stuff that he's pulling out of the oven. And we were touched that our friend wanted to do this for us, right? Took his own money, used the skills that he had to make good food, to have a good experience, have a good meal with us, right? And so, you know, we sit down. And we sort of like half plated already, you know, when we sit down. And as soon as we get ready to eat, I guess he didn't pay his light bill because as soon as we get ready to leave, the lights go out, right? And we were, when I say we were ready to eat, I'm talking about napkin in and everything, chair all brought up and stuff. And then the lights pop off, right? And then he doesn't mention it at all, right? I'm scooping my chair up and the lights go out and he doesn't even go, ooh, like nothing. He just, y'all, let's eat. And it is pitch black, okay? And in my head, I'm like, why? How often does this happen that you're not gonna say anything at all? Not acknowledge it one bit. And so then, like, I'm sitting in the dark and I'm looking around. I can't see anybody, but I'm looking around. You know the way you try to meet eyes when something wild happens and everything. And then after like a couple seconds, he was like, wait. I'm waiting to hear why. Maybe it's a breaker issue. Maybe it's just, you know, the block or something like that. And he's like, wait. Let's say grace. To be fair, when I say grace, I bow my head and close my eyes anyway, but it's different when the darkness is not your choice, right? There's something about saying grace in the dark that's genuinely menacing, okay? Because it's a prayer over your meal, but if it's pitch black and you hear somebody else go, Lord, please bless this food for the nourishment of our bodies, you're like, this one doesn't sound right. I don't like that. And it must happen a lot because not only does he not address it, but he is going with his fork and knife, and he's the only one out of us that's got any rhythm going with the plate, okay? Because he chose the right friends to do this in front of, because he doesn't mention it, so we don't want to mention it because we don't want to feel rude, you know? We out here treating broke like a country, like I wouldn't want to offend his culture, you know what I'm saying? Like, if eating in the dark is part of his customs, let's go ahead and acquiesce. And so we're all in the dark, and I could have sworn I knew how to use a fork and knife. I was positive, because I've been doing it my entire life. But it's not until you're in the dark that you realize, at least me, I have no idea where my mouth is. Because we already had some peas and carrots and some mashed potatoes on the plate, right? But like I said, this is all like Thanksgiving style and everything, all family style. So a lot of the dishes are in other containers on the table. So I'm just trying to start with what I have. So then I go to scoop up some mashed potatoes and then I stab myself in the cheek, right? So and he had done a good job with the mashed potatoes because they were nice and buttery, which meant I couldn't tell if I was bleeding or not because it was just, because I had hit it hard. I got two prongs in the mouth and 2 prongs on the cheek, but I'm like, that got me good. I need to slow down, right? Because you're not really thinking about how fast your hand is moving when you try to eat. So then I'm like, let me go ahead and attack the peas. But the peas, I can't find my spoon, right? So the peas are gonna have to go with this fork and they are slipping. I'm imagining they're going right off the plate. And so I'm trying to stab for some peas, but everybody can hear me just clinking, just hitting plate, right? And finally, I feel a little thunk. That's a carrot. So then I lift up slowly. I bite a carrot. It's hard because he didn't actually cook everything well, just the mashed potatoes. So now I'm eating bad food in the dark, right? Because every time I do get a bite of something, the food is still hot because he did a good job of plating, right? So there was a little bit of chicken, little chicken thigh that was already on the plate and stuff. So I cut that up a little bit, put the chicken in my mouth. But now I didn't realize how hot it would be because I couldn't see steam, right? So now I have burned my tongue in the moment and I'm doing that. And I'm not the only one, because he is the only one hitting any of this with rhythm. Yeah, I mean, like his fork, you can tell his fork slicing where it's supposed to slice, that he's scooping where he's supposed to scoop and everything. And everybody else, I'm assuming, is just making noise, because there are some, I don't hear any chewing. So I feel like the person next to me was just like, because the meat was tough, right? And so then, like I said, it was like Thanksgiving family style and stuff. So then our host pops up and is like, I forgot some of the cranberry sauce. Let me go up and get it. And for as adept, okay, he gets up and all we hear is, ow. I'm back. And so I know that I'm making an attempt to eat. I'm doing my best, right? But then apparently someone else is, because from the other side of the table, I can hear someone, because once again, it's family style. I hear somebody, hey, sheepishly, hey, you don't need to whisper, it's just dark. Hey, real quick, okay. Sorry. Can somebody pass the green beans? And so then the person who thought they had the green beans starts feeling for the container, right? So now we hear them plopping along the table and everything. And then they finally grab it, and then they from over here, who wanted it again? And instead just saying their name, they're like, over here. So then we had to get the green beans across the table, Marco Polo style. And I could feel people passing it past me, but I didn't want to be involved, right? I didn't want to have anything to do with this whatsoever. And so then I can see, I can't see anything, but like I can tell that the person to my left is trying to reach for it from the person from my right. And so I'm like, I don't need to help, I just need to lean back. But because they can't see, they lean forward and just grab my face. And then they're like, is this it? I'm like, no, it's not. And so I push their hand forward. They actually grab, I'm assuming, the casserole platter. And then I think they dropped it a little bit, because then I feel a hot splash, right? So I get a hot splash, boom, right on the face. And I'm just like, oh. They get the green beans over to that side of the table. Turns out it was yams, okay? So... And when you go to take what you think is going to be green beans and it's yams, it's a texture you'll never forget, right? No one was ready. And so once I get like hot splash, because it was whatever it was, it burned a little. I was ready to go, and it had been some time, you know what I mean? Like most meals only take, 15, 20 minutes to really eat until you get full anyway. And it had been however long it had been, I don't know. And so I'm ready to go, but I don't want to be the first one. So then I'm not good at it, but I try to throw my voice. A little bit like, well, this has been so great. And obviously everybody felt the same way, because then as soon as I scoop my chair to get back, everybody else get ready to get up, right? And so we all start getting up and we thank him for cooking and everything. And then we feel our way for the door. And as soon as we open the door, a bunch of hallway light spills in. I'm like, why didn't we just... This was wholly unnecessary. And so I go to leave, and as I'm leaving, I pass a mirror in his lobby, which is the first look I get of my face. I haven't looked like this after I've eaten since I was a baby, all right? Because I got mashed potatoes here. I knew about those, right? But then I got a little bit of like chicken right here, just a couple of strands of chicken. And then this was gravy. So I got splashed with hot gravy coming down my face. That's why I vet people now. Like now when people offer to have me over and cook, I ask some of their friends, I'm like, hey, have you been over there before? Are they a good cook? Do the lights stay on? Things that you just need to know before you go. You know it's a really, really beautiful thing? Black women are having an incredible summer. This is phenomenal, right? Like just in the Olympics, Lauren Scruggs is the first black woman to win an individual medal in fencing. And not only do I just love seeing black people succeed, I love seeing black people succeed at stuff I didn't know we did. So if you don't know what fencing is, because I didn't know. It's basically when people cosplay Bridgerton, all right? Okay, so it's a mix of stuff. So like, when people go on a padded cell, right? They do that, but they wear the cell, okay? So they go ahead and wrap themselves in like a padded cell and stuff, and then they get that stance, right? They get that long stance, and then they got their little sword is thin, and then they sort of try to musketeers each other until one of them get the most points, right? I still haven't figured out why they always do it. To me, it would just make more sense to have it and be like, ah! Like that seems like you really get some points just really coming at somebody, right? And I thought, as I thought about it more and as I learned more about the sport, which I still don't know very much, I thought to myself, man, I probably could have been pretty good at fencing if I had applied myself, because I grew up in the South with black grandma. So I'm used to the sound of... Because my grandma and I had this thing, right? Like if I was really acting up, if I was bad enough, right? She would tell me, go outside. There's a dead bush, and go ahead and pick your switch. And if you don't know what picking a switch is, if you were born after Child Protective Services, picking your switch was a form, after you've been acting up and go out there and pick your switch, it was a form of psychological torture, because you would get out there and then you trying to pick the switch most likely to break. Because you're like, all right, let me see. I'll let her get 3 good licks in, but then it'll snap, and she'll be like, let bygones be bygones, right? And so you go out there, and I would go out there, I'd be testing them. I'd be like, that one got too much bend to it. Let me guess. And so then you bring your switch back to your grandma, and then she go to pop it a couple times, and just out of reflex, you start, whoo, whoo. It's hot, right? I think if my grandma had whooped me just a few more times, I really could have been a medalist in fencing. Like, I could have been like... And then, Lauren is amazing, but you also have Simone Biles. The most decorated gymnast of all time. She won again today. I thought they were done. She won with the vault. A lot of people are amazed at how high, how elegantly, just the way that she moves through the air, the strength that she has, the grace in her movements and stuff like that. And some people are surprised at how high she can go and all that stuff. I'm not at all. I'm surprised that she comes back down to earth. Because I saw just a picture of her doing the vault, and when she flew, I was like, y'all, she gone. She going to space. Incredible. Like, Simone will get me so hyped up. I remember the first time I saw her. First time I ever saw her perform at all in one of her events. And I got so hyped, I tried to do a cartwheel. That's what I can't stand with people that are good at stuff. They make it look easy, and then you do it, and then you almost snap your whole spine. Because she did some routine where she was like, boom, 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 and she was just everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She was flying, she was coming down, and then she got done, and I was like, ooh, that's so cool. And then my back hit the wall. I just started sliding down. Even outside of Olympics, you got Kamala Harris. Joe Biden steps aside, Kamala takes up the mantle. She is a presidential candidate and everything. And, you know, when she enters the race, she's actually polling slightly higher than Biden was, right? Really like giving Trump a run for his money to a certain degree. Like, she's polling a little bit higher. And then in the time since, she's been polling, ticking up and everything. And there's just been so many instances of like let's say she's on camera or something. This happened a few days ago. She was walking up the stairs already. An improvement, right? She was walking up the stairs to the plane that was waiting for her, and a reporter yelled, right? A reporter was like, oh my God, like trying to answer, you know, get her to answer a question. And she turned, because she heard him, she turned. She turned because she heard him, right? And then he's like, have you picked a VP yet? And she went, no, not yet. And then she keeps walking up. Now, this may not be a big deal to some, but if you are a Democrat, it's a lot more multitasking than we've been used to in a long time. She can walk, she can hear, and she can talk at the same time. That's wild. I'm not saying it's new, but it's been a minute. And just when it felt like her campaign couldn't get any more momentum, Trump went to the National Association of Black Journalists. And I want to say something real quick, and I really want you to hear me when I say this, all right? For real. Please, right? Please hear me when I say this. I think that it's important, no matter who you are, because other countries are better at doing this than we are sometimes. No matter who you are, I think it's important for someone to go where most people oppose them and express their ideas. I think it's important because it's important for us to have discussions that are real. A discussion where the person who believes the thing said the thing to you, and you're not hearing it secondhand from someone you already agree with. Part of why we are the way we are right now is that people don't really want to listen to someone that they are diametrically opposed to. They want to hear from someone they already like, but someone you already like tends to believe what you believe. So then we're playing telephone with each other's ideas sometimes, right? And so I do think that it was good what he did. He went to a place where he was not gonna be lauded over, was not gonna be like babied with what he's trying to say. He went to a place where he was opposed. I think it's good what he did. He just shouldn't have done this. Do you see what I mean? You know what I mean? Because he went to the National Association of Black Journalists, and this is my thing. A lot of people didn't really talk about this, but they were opposed within the group if he should come or not. There were some people that were like, we shouldn't platform him. I can't believe y'all are even inviting him. And there were other people that said, hey, look, this is a presidential candidate. We need to hear out whatever it is he has to say because he could potentially become the president. So you had both those ideas bouncing back off of each other, bumping heads. And then you had me. I was in a very particular camp, which was let him cook. Because, you know, this dude rolls up and pretty early on, I say first 3 minutes, this dude said she was Indian and then one day she just turned black. He said, turned black. And I was like, Donnie, what else you got? That's a little while later, he hit it. He hit it. I didn't know if it would come up again. I've been waiting. He hit it. He was like, the immigrants are coming and they are taking the black jobs. I've been wondering what a black job was since the debate, because he said at the debate and nobody called him on it. Nobody caught it or anything. Black jobs. And then one of the women up there, because it was 3 women interviewing him. 3 black journalists were interviewing him. And one was like, sir, what is a black job? And then he was like, a job anybody could have. You know, and look, I don't know Kamala. I don't know anybody on her campaign or anything, but I know that they had to be watching. They had to be watching that the way that we watch Powerball. Just sitting there like, say turn black again. Say turn black, say turn black. One more time, please, please, please. Turn black, turn black. I'll be happy with a Negro. Can we get a Negro? Turn black or Negro, please. I don't know if this story resonated with people the way that it resonated with me, but they caught the Pennsylvania convict that escaped and everything. All right, did you already know about this? Okay, so some of y'all didn't, so I'll explain it very quickly. Very, very quickly, I'll try to give you the rundown on what happened. Basically, there was this guy, and you can watch it, they released the footage of this dude escaping prison, right? He escaped prison, okay? So then this dude walks up. I should also mention, when I saw the escape, I was rooting for him to be like a burglar or like you know what I mean? Like something that you could bank rob or something you could really get in the story. Turns out, he's a murderer. So I was like, please find him immediately. Please, please, please. He is killed. He is a killer, all right? And the worst part about him being a killer is he little. So he is a little killer, and that is the scariest type of killer. Bro, you are big. If you stood up to kill me, I'd be like, that makes sense. I'm getting killed by a man right now. You know what I mean? Like, that's, if a big man goes to kill, that looks like what he want to do anyway. Like, if you a big dude and you kill, that all makes sense. But if you a little killer, if you just walking, I'm like, like that's. Cause I don't know who he killed, what he did, but all I know is he a killer and he little, so it must felt like Chucky coming at you when he was coming. Doesn't even feel like he take regular steps. He feel like they do that wind-up toy shit, you know what I'm talking about? Where he's like, murder, you know what I mean? And so I was freaked out by that. I was like, once they told me he was a killer, I was like, please catch him quick. So this is what he did. So basically, he walks up to two pillars that are in the prison, right? And he put his hand on one pillar. And he put his foot on the other pillar. And then this motherfucker moonwalked up until he got to the roof. I've only seen Jackie Chan do that in Rumble in the Bronx and Looney Tunes. Those are the only two that I've seen moonwalk up two pillars like that. And he did it like it was nothing. And then he jumped off the like side of the building, was on the roof, jumped over that wire, jumped off the building, and then ran into the bushes and stuff. And they couldn't find him because he little. Okay. And this is the worst part. Okay, so he's so little that they locked down everybody. They made everyone in a like a wide radius stay inside. They were like, don't. Yeah, it was where? It was in my parents' backyard. He was in your parents' backyard? Ooh, okay, all right. So I'm gonna tell them the rest of the story, and then I gotta, no, okay. So I'm gonna tell, so then, okay. All right, so then this motherfucker is out, right? And so then they lock everybody down in a radius because they don't want anybody to leave the house because he's so little, they don't know where he could be. So he's so little that he could be under sinks. He could be in cabinets. They have no idea where this man could be. They were like, don't go outside, don't go for your little run, because when you come back in, he could be in your pants leg. He is just that little. This man is tiny as hell, all right? He's so little, stay where you are. And they even locked down school, and a lot of people were upset and didn't understand why they did that, but I did. I got it immediately. He little. All he needs is a backpack, and he one of the kids. Now he's even harder to find. Is he under a sink? Is he in home economics class? Like, where is it? So then, all right. So then this is as far as I know and what I saw, but I'm going to get a little bit more confirmation in a second. So then the way that they found him was also hilarious, because then they found him, right? And they were using this like infrared to track where he could be because they knew he was in the woods. And him being in the woods makes the story even funnier. I'm not gonna lie. Because him being in the woods like a Keebler elf, just like a little murdery, like, you know what I mean? So then they get the infrared. Then they find a pattern that they think is him. Then they release the like manhunt dogs, right? And so I'm not a cop. I don't really know what goes into it, but from what I've heard, this might be bad information. I'm just telling you what I heard, all right? The manhunt dogs aren't like the drug dogs. These dogs only get to go out to do manhunt stuff. So if they not on manhunt, they bored, right? So then they release these dogs. These dogs could not be happier. These dogs were out like, yes! The dogs were, you can see it on a dog's face, this is what we play for! This was the Super Bowl for those dogs, right? They were like, yeah! And so then the dog, one of the dogs caught him, right? And they caught him. Like the dog got him, but got him. Like got him on the head. And the dog biting his whole head is just a testament to how little he is. Like, I'm surprised the dog didn't swallow him. Like, your whole head fit in the dog's mouth like a lion circus act? That's insane. He was in your parents' backyard. So, okay, and for a little while? Or, like, how long was he in? And when he was in the backyard, was he just in between two blades of grass? Like, how did y'all not?
Ran through, and, like, cops let them know the next day, but it was like a night.
Oh, so he ran through your parents' backyard, and then the cops came to your parents the next day, and they were like, listen, he little and he was here. Which which is not reassuring at all. It's like for a cop to come to your house and be like, this little motherfucker was here. And we still don't know where he is. He could still be here, all right? Check your collar. Check behind your ear. Is he there? This was the littlest manhunt we've ever been on. It was like they were looking for Stuart Little. It was crazy. In your parents' back, and were your parents like freaked out by that? Oh, they weren't freaked out?
We locked our doors, so it was fine.
Your parents are like, we locked our doors, so it's all good. We closed the windows, it's fine. Was your dad acting like tough about it?
Absolutely not.
Oh, your dad? Okay. I thought maybe your dad would be like, I'm gonna step on that little motherfucker when I see him. Like, no, wow. Ooh. Oh, almost feels weird to change the subject now, but I'm gonna try. I know. What do I do now? So, look. Confidence. Confidence is not a meritocracy. One of the things that hurts men in their lives more than anything is not having confidence. And some men have so much confidence, and it's like completely unearned. You're like, where did it come from? Did it fall out of the sky and hit them? Was it like an asteroid? Where did they get this confidence? I'll give you an example. This happened last night, right? I was on a walk, right? I had just got some ice cream, a little sorbet, okay? I'm on my walk, I'm enjoying my strawberry sorbet, and I see next to me two beautiful, like truly, truly beautiful women, right? And we're all about to cross the street. And then as I was looking over at them, past them, I saw one of the raggiest dudes I've ever seen in my entire life, right? And he was on a bike, but it looked like a city bike, but it looked like it used to be a city bike. You know what I mean? You know, like when a city bike really been through it to where even city bike is like, you can keep this one. We don't even like it looked decommissioned. Like it's like it wasn't even blue anymore. It was just busted looking. And he on the bike, right? And so then it wasn't. I mean, maybe it wasn't even a city bike because it had a chain on. Anyway. So he's riding the bike, okay? And he rides up to where the three of us are standing, and he immediately shoots his shot with these two women. I've never had broke bike shooting my shot confidence. And two women who look done up. Like they look like they just got, like it must be one of their birthdays or something. They look incredible. And he rolled up and he did the thing where he tried to slow down and he wanted to swerve on him. You could tell he wanted to swerve, but he couldn't get the handlebars of the right position. So, you know, he wanted to be like he wanted to like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking? He wanted to like flip on him. But instead he was just like, how y'all doing, ladies? How y'all doing? And so all three of us turned. And I don't know why I turned. Like, but all three of us turned. Like, and then he just proceeded to lay it on thick. He's like, how you doing? You know, y'all looking good tonight? And it's like, it was one of those things where I was like, where is it coming from? But then I thought to myself, I'm like, the place that misplaced confidence really comes from it's a numbers game. Every man knows that it's a numbers game. And you have to remove your emotions from it because he knows in his head, if they say no to him, that literally just makes sense. So we can only go up from here. You wonder why raggedy dudes try it on with you? It's because they know you should say no. On the off chance you having a bad night, your confidence fucked up, you don't really have hope, and you say yes, that's my night. And so they at first they were going to ignore him, but then they saw that the light wasn't turning because we still had 20 seconds on this other one. So we knew it was going to be 20 seconds. So he's like, how y'all doing? Everything good? You know, you want to hang out? What y'all doing later and everything? And then they were like, oh, no, we're good. Thank you so much and everything. And then he was like, all right, I mean, you know, you missing out when you're not hanging out with Leroy. He said his name in the third person. Like, that's the confidence. Anyway, so then he's like, you're missing out if you're not out with Leroy. And then he went to like start up again. And you could tell you want to do the, you know, like when you're on a bike and you try to really get one going so you get high on it so you can really come down. So he tried to get high on it, and right then the chain broke. And the so the chain broke on the bike, and then he just, without saying a word, just sort of got off the bike and started walking the bike away. He was like, all right, y'all missing out, but all right. One of my favorite like types of stories in the world are snitch stories. You know what I mean? Like when somebody is part of a criminal organization and they turn and they try to like not get caught. So, and I think it's because I'm a snitch. Like I am. Like I'm such a snitch that when I was little, no kids wouldn't let me do dirty stuff with them because they were like, "You gonna tell?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would. Yeah. You're not even wrong. I really would. I would panic. I'd tell everybody. I'd tell everybody everything. I'd probably tell them stuff that didn't even happen. I'm telling them just to make the story feel full." My favorite snitch story of all time was this guy was in a gang and he got caught on some unrelated stuff, and then he turned state's evidence, right? So then he started working with police, became a confidential informant, and was giving them everything on the gang as an enterprise. And then the day came that they had planned for so long. He was supposed to give them the time and the place to meet where the stash house was, when the stash house would have the most money, the most guns, and have everybody there. And so the day came, he called the police. Police bust in, and they're arresting everybody, and they're seizing everything. And there's video that leaked of it that then became part of a little documentary on it. And you can see in the thing that the cops, when they're busting in, forgot to arrest him. And so he knows he needs to be arrested. So as the cops are even running past him, he's like, oh no! Ow! God! What is happening? Ooh, y'all, they got us. Oh no! And there's a little subtitle on the thing where the man is sitting on his hands, uncuffed, whispering to the cop, "Motherfucker, cuff me. What are you doing? You trying to get me killed?" Man, you all have been so fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm Josh Johnson. I'll be honest with y'all. I don't smoke weed, but I let people think I do, because it makes me make more sense to people. Like if I told you my thoughts and you knew I was sober, you'd be like, "Ooh, is he slow or something? What's going on?" But if I told you my thoughts and you thought I was high, you'd be like, "He really on to something. I like how he thinks. That's fire right there." I'll give you an example right now. Like I wish I could talk to bugs. And not all the animals. I'm not trying to get input from everybody, just bugs. Because I feel like it would save a lot of lives, you know. Because how many times have you been at home chilling, and in the corner of the room you just hear... But if you could talk to bugs, if you could be like, "Hey, bruh, no. Not tonight. I'm not in the mood. I'm gonna open the window. I'm gonna need you to leave." And then he'd be like, "Sorry." But because we don't speak their language, it's just every time. It's just murders in your house. Let's say you bring somebody home, you have a date, date's going well, date comes back with you to your place, you in the Netflix portion of the Netflix and chill, you got the arm around, y'all making out, and then just a cockroach walk out to the middle of the room. If you could just be like, Carl, no. Not tonight, I got company here, come on now. Come on, bro. He'd be like, "I'm sorry, that's my bad." Even she'd be understanding. She'd be like, "He had no way of knowing I was coming." It happens. If I could talk to bugs, first bug that I talk to would be a praying mantis. I just walk up to him and be like, "She ain't good for you, dog. Nah, don't do this. You and the boys for a little while. She just using you for your body, okay?" No, not even sex. You got a tasty ass head, and she wants to eat you. I watch the news sometimes when I'm like not depressed enough, you know. You know, sometimes you're having a good day, you turn on the news, you're like, let's see who else is having a good day, and the news is like, nobody. Nobody having a good day. Everybody died. So I turned on the news and I saw Kamala Harris was in Jakarta. And she was in an interview with a journalist. And during the interview, the journalist asked her if she would be ready, willing, and able to take up the office of president if Biden was, for whatever reason, incapacitated. And she said, yes, and it was just too quick. That's way too fast. And don't get me wrong, that's literally her job. Her job to be there in case he not there, she there, right? That's her whole job. But she said yes, like she been dropping banana peels at the White House for years. That's way too fast. She said yes, like every time Biden get on some steps, her mouth water. Just like, oh, okay, it's the day. All right, I'm gonna get my promotion. Oh, he about to miss that third step. Let me get the right pantsuit on. She said it like just anytime she's walking down the stairs behind him, she sees her hair shaking like she about to lean forward. I could be a world leader. And you could tell, she said yes too fast. Because she said, yeah, so he asked her, she was like, yes, ooh. Like, shit. And so then she started backtracking, which just made it sound worse. She was like, I'm just answering your hypothetical. Like, you the one over here asking a question about Biden's stronger than ever. All right, calm down. Do y'all see that they want to impeach Biden now? Do you see they're trying to open the investigation and impeach Biden? It's starting to feel like if you don't get impeached, you weren't really president. Like this started to feel like street cred for presidents. You know what I mean? They want to impeach you. Here's my thing about Biden. And calm down, because I can already feel it. For real. Like I said 2 words and already people were like, what? Like it was... This was so annoying about being American right now. You get like 2 words in and people try to suss out where you are. Like, we haven't done that since the Civil War. Like, chill out. I said 2 things. I just said, here's my thing about Biden. And immediately, I could feel y'all's eyes on me like, oh, I didn't know they invited Candace Owens' brother to do a set. No. Here's my thing about Biden. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you show me evidence, I'll consider something. I'm not a biased person. Maybe he doing everything that the Republicans say he doing, but when we look over at him, he just look tired. Like, he doesn't look, I mean, I'm not even saying he can't be corrupt. I'm saying he doesn't look capable right now. He look... You know, maybe he's the worst criminal that we've ever had in the office, but when you look over him, he just looked like the Snoop Dogg of soup. You know what I mean? Yeah, everything Snoop Dogg did for weed, Biden doing for soup right now. Like, he making soup cool. He trying to get the kids into soup. You know what I mean? Like, it feels odd, you know, because it's like maybe he's a criminal mastermind, but it feels like he's just hanging on. You know what I mean? That's a grandpa, and we put him to work. We did that, you know? You can't possibly believe that Biden is this criminal mastermind, but then also, anytime he make it through a speech, we're like, that was pretty good. That was like, no, he really crushed that. He didn't slip on any of the S's. That was well done. You know what I mean? There was a couple T's, and he stuck them like Simone Biles. I'm really proud of it. Well done. There is one thing I will say, honestly, that Biden will be doing that's not on the up and up. If you watch as many press conferences as I watch with Biden talking, it's only when they ask him a good-ass question he start acting senile. I'm not going to lie. Like, anytime they got a good-ass question dead to rights, that's when he start talking about Disneyland and hanging out on Mars with Larry Bird. I'm like, you were fine a second ago. Like, you know, this feels weird. I don't know why more world leaders don't do that. You know, a lot of them old, just start doing the Biden card. You get in trouble. That's what Putin should do. Think about it. Putin would buy a lot of goodwill if he just fell down a flight of steps every day. If every day for a month, Putin just, like just every day. You'd be catching people a month from now being like, he's a fucking war criminal. And we'd be like, yeah, but it looked like he got bad knees. Leave him alone. They try to interview him. They're like, why are you still laying siege to Ukraine? And he's like, Ukraine? Is that one of my grandbabies? Like, oh. And they're even coming for Hunter now. You saw Hunter got indicted. That's wild. That's oof. They really coming for the Bidens hard, you know. I love Hunter. I really do. I really do. No, hear me out. I do. I love Hunter because I'm just so glad that the first person to smoke crack in the White House was white. That's beautiful. That's absolutely incredible. Especially if you know the history of crack in the U.S. You're like, wow, yes. Thank goodness. It really makes the White House to crack relationship feel like it's come full circle now. Yeah? I am disappointed, though. I'm not going to lie to you. I really do wish that Hunter would just get Joe to smoke crack. That would be the most fire presidency of all time. I know nobody's on board with this, but hear me out, okay? First of all, Biden will never fall again, all right? Crackheads do not fall, okay? You could push Biden and he still hit an angle. Like, it's like, I'm telling you, he'd never go down again. You'd never have to worry. He would skip steps on the way up. My man would be fucking feeling himself. You'd never have a boring press conference again. Biden press conferences are snooze fest right now. Just, you know what I mean? Not on crack, not on crack. Not on crack. He'd be like, what? What was that? He got to scream because he sold the mic for money for more crack. But like, what was that? And Republicans would love if Biden was on crack because he'd finally be as bad of a president as they've been saying he is. Republicans could finally be like, he sold Indiana for $6 to China, all right? What the fuck we gonna do? We got citizens over there. And then as liberals, we would love if Biden was on crack, because we'd finally have a Trump. You know what I mean? We act like we don't need a Trump, but we need one. We really do. As liberals, we need a Trump. We care about everybody feeling us too much, but we get Biden smoking crack, Joe just going off, he not in control of what he's saying, we'd finally have a bully on our side, you know? Marjorie Taylor Greene be up there like, Joe Biden, you're a piece of shit. And then Joe, fully cracked out. It's like, oh, Mart, I'm a piece of shit? Well, you a lonely bitch. Aren't you getting divorced this year? Hope those conspiracy theories could keep you warm, lonely bitch. Oh, it'd be incredible. You would have to like rein him in, though. You'd see Joe try to wash the windshields of Air Force One. Mr. President, get down. Get down right now. Oh, it would be dope, man. How do I put this? I'll be honest with you, I've watched some porn before in my life. Thank you. And this is my thing. Porn, it gives people unrealistic expectations, you know what I mean? And we all know what they say about men, that porn gives men unrealistic expectations of sex, because porn makes men think, oh, if I just touch her elbow with my penis, she gonna lose it, you know what I mean? Like, if I just touch you, I'm like, ah! Like, thank you. But it's not just for men, it's for everyone. Porn gives everyone unrealistic expectations of sex, you know? Like, it makes men think that they're about to be sex gods, and it makes women think that the sex is about to be, like, good or whatever, you know what I mean? Everybody's gonna be disappointed. I don't know. Whenever Tupac was murdered, it really was like Black Elvis. Like, we couldn't accept it. We were like, no, he went to Cuba because they was looking for him. Not likely, all right. But we never did that with Biggie. You notice that? Tupac and Biggie got shot within months of each other. And Tupac were like, no, he gonna come back one day. And Biggie, we were like, yeah, that checks out. That's wild. I can't help but think it's because Biggie was heavy. I think deep down we know if it wasn't the bullets, it would have been butter. You know what I mean? Like, Biggie was not long for this. It was gonna be the streets or the kitchen. One of them was coming for Biggie. You know? I don't know if y'all remember this, but back in the day, before the pandemic, they were talking about putting Harriet Tubman on like the 20 or something. I don't even remember what bill it was. And it was like, everyone had an opinion immediately. There were people who thought it was great. There were people who didn't care, you know, a little bit, and then it turned out they cared. You know? And then there were people that were like, no, we can't have this happen. You know? And then Mnuchin said he'd block it, and he did, you know, so it never happened. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I need Harriet on the 20. What bothers me the most is how has Harriet Tubman not had her own sneaker yet? Like, that seems... You know what I mean? Think about it. Who is more deserving of a sneaker deal throughout all the history of America than Harriet Tubman? Come on. If you don't know who Harriet Tubman is, she was the LeBron of escaped slaves, okay? She was putting up numbers. She got a lot of other people to freedom. Buckets. That would have been a motherfucker to be a slave owner while Harriet was around. You come outside, ain't nobody there. You're like... The commercial writes itself. It does. You know, I just beat the Golden State Warriors in my new Adidas Maxes. And it's like, oh, I ran to freedom. How about that? How do you beat that shoe? You don't. I do wonder, and this is a genuine question. I'm being sincere. This isn't like, I'm not going to make fun of you or anything. Does anyone here believe in aliens? Okay, so this is my thing. I believed in aliens so hard when I was little. Like, when I was a little kid, I was like, it's just us in the whole universe? Come on, really? Just us. A whole universe. That seems wild, right? And then as I get older, it's becoming harder for me to believe in aliens. Because, especially after everything up until 2023, it's hard to believe in aliens because Trump didn't mention it while he was president. Like, that man told every secret. Anything they told him, he told us in an hour. Like, they would be in the room with this man and be like, you're not gonna tell anybody, right? And he's like, no. And then he leaves and he's like, folks, like, that was... He could not keep a secret at all. He had the leakiest White House of all time. And he never mentioned aliens, so now I'm like, maybe not. I don't know what to tell you. It's a tough one. For the people who believe in aliens, once again, I'm being sincere, I wonder if aliens haven't made broad daylight obvious contact with us because they think we're boring or because they've seen how we treat each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was an alien above Earth looking down all this time, I'd be like, oof, they don't even like when you have different skin. And I got 3 dicks, so they gonna kill me immediately, just out of jealousy if nothing else. God damn, might as well stay up here where it's safe. Ooh. I feel this is a weird thing. I respect that people have to be like choosy when they're dating, and sometimes you have to make choices based off, like, you get a little inkling of a thing and you call it a red flag, or because you're like, I know how it's going to go after that. And sometimes people are overly harsh about that, but it's necessary, you know? Like, I think about my friend. I went to a club with my buddy, and he had a full, like, almost rom-com experience. He saw this woman across the club, truly across the club. He was like, the light was just shining on her a little extra, you know? So then my man made his way over, and it was almost like the dance floor was parting as he was walking over to her. And then he gets up to her, he lays his thickest game on that he has. He's like, hey, how you doing? You know, mind if I buy you a drink or something? And she turns around and looks him up and down and goes, oh, no. Nah, that's not what we doing. And he tries one more time. He's like, why can't I buy you a drink? Get to know you. We might like each other. And she looks him up and down again, and she goes, your shoes. Which I know, that sounds super vapid. That's wild. It sounds really materialistic, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm on her side. Because when he looked down, both his shoes were untied. And it's like, yeah, bro, how did you... There's no better way to walk up to a woman and be like, you have to take care of me eventually, than to have both your shoes untied when you approach the conversation. How'd you even make it over without tripping? It's crazy. Dude, one shoe could happen to anybody. Both shoes hasn't happened since the 3rd grade, all right? If you approach a woman with both your shoes untied, you might as well walk up with a glass of milk in one hand and a cookie in the other. Talking about, you want to be friends? Because that's what the fuck you look like with both your shoes untied. It's insane. I was watching a movie this week. Have you heard of Downfall? Anybody? Okay. It's a German movie, and it's about the last 10, 12 days of, like, Hitler and the Third Reich. It was like when they were losing the war, and it's from the account of the secretary that was in the bunker, of just, like, you know, Hitler was freaking out and everything. And it got me to thinking, like, how do you contend with the idea that there's a higher power while watching all of the horrible stuff that happened around the world in World War II? It's like the worst atrocities against humanity happen, but also there's supposed to be this higher power that's fully in control and everything. And people talk about if they could go back in time, they'd kill baby Hitler and stuff like that. You know? I'm like, all right, yeah. But if I was God, I think I would have just given Hitler a real high voice. Ain't nobody following him then. If that dude rock up and be like, listen to me. There's something happening in the fatherland that must be stopped. I don't even think you let that dude work fast food. You'd be like, nah, that voice too annoying. He's like, listen to me about the Jews. It's like, no, we caught you. I'll be vulnerable for a second. I thought I had it all figured out, you know. I was sexting. And sexting's a very precarious situation. You want to make sure you're sexting at the right time, you know? Because if it's like 8 o'clock, you still got other people texting you, you know? You don't want to accidentally send a text that's incoming to somebody because you opened the thing, you know what I mean? And it's also like, what if you're not that skilled? Like, what if I'm not good texting with just my left hand? Now you texting typos and stuff. It's knocking the sexy right out of your sexting. You know, it's like, I'm gonna fud your bass. It's like, nobody's into it now. You know? So I had an idea. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. And I didn't talk to anybody about it. I had never heard anybody doing this, but in my mind, it was the best thing to do. I was like, I'm just gonna speak to text. So that way I don't gotta worry about the other hand and everything, and I can just like get in the zone and stuff. I don't have to worry about other people texting me and everything. And it went horribly wrong. Because I wasn't at home. I was at my childhood home. So I was in my room, but it wasn't my house, you know? And it was, 9 o'clock or so, and we were sexted that, look, I'll read you the thing right now. This is what. Okay. All right. So she's like, oh, okay. And what's good? What would you do if you were here right now? And then I was like, girl, I would tear those clothes off. And Mom, what are you doing in here? Mom, I had the door closed. You can't just open the door. I was just coming to see if you wanted dinner. No, I'm okay. Mom, get out right now. Boy, how you gonna tell me to get out somewhere in my house? I'm sorry, Mom, please, can you please leave and close the door? You know we don't have closed doors in this house. Which is true, that's a very like black family thing of like you not closing the door in my house, what you up to in there? I was like, Mama, please leave, please, please leave. And she was like, all right, what's the big deal? I was like, nothing, Mom, just please get out of here. So anyway, girl, I would say... All right, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great night.
Ever since I was a kid and my voice changed, I've been told by people all over the country, people of different ethnicities, backgrounds, I've been told by people that I have an incredibly white voice. That's what they say. And people try to act like they can't hear it, but if I called and then showed up, you'd be surprised. Like, every time even my laugh is like, like every time I laugh, someone somewhere gets audited. Like, that's what the auditing is. But I didn't realize how like white my voice sounded to people until I was in Louisiana, where I grew up, and I was running for the bus. And the bus in Louisiana is not like the bus anywhere else, because the bus in Louisiana comes once a year. It's a big deal. You need to make it knees to chest, okay? The stakes are high. I don't know if the bus stops. I've never been on it. But I was running so fast and so hard that I knocked down this old man. And I mean, I cleared him, okay? Normally I'd feel bad, but it's the closest my little body's ever come to football, so I was pretty excited. I was like, he might be dead. Look at me go. But I did feel bad, so I let the bus go. I helped him up to his feet. It was this old black man, and I even realized that he was blind, so I saw his stick. So I grabbed his stick. I put his stick back in his hand, and I was like, sir, I'm so sorry. I hope you're not injured. You came out of nowhere. Please forgive me. And then this old blind black man went, get your hands off me, honky! And I was like, sir. Sir, I'm black. I'm black like you. And he was like, nice try, cracker. Like there was nothing I could do. I've never had to prove I was black for us, and I got mad, but then the madder I got, the whiter I sounded. Until the point where I was just standing in front of him like, by golly, I'm black, gosh darn it! There's nothing I could do. It was terrible. You know? I don't know how to talk to people. Like, it's a real thing. I have friends now, but the damage is done. When I was a kid, I'd just sit in my room and read encyclopedias, which is not a kid you want to talk to, you know? It's like, how's it going, sport? You want to know how many miles the Earth is from the sun? Oh, gosh. Get that away. You know what I mean? But now I'm used to being alone, so I'll just sit, I'll think about a thing, I'll sit and just be alone and thinking about the thing. But then when I talk to someone, they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, no, I'm not crazy. I was thinking about this all day. Like, I ran through all the channels, all right? I'm not crazy, you're crazy, okay? I can't be crazy. You need to check. You're just finding out. I've been here, all right? Like, the best example I can give is I don't get in heated arguments with people over, like, race or religion or politics or anything, because all the stuff I care about is too dumb for anybody else to care about. Like, everyone is, you know what I mean? It's just me, you know what I mean? Just by myself. Like, the best example I can give is when you go to the bathroom and you wash your hands and then you go to dry your hands, but there's no paper towels, there's just that air dryer. Where is the air coming from? Where's the air coming from? That is bathroom air. That is ass air, all right? You might as well fart your hands dry if you're gonna dry your hands like that. So then I leave the bathroom with my hands wet, you know? So then I shake people's hands like, why are your hand wet? Because I'm clean, okay? I'm not crazy, you're crazy, okay? I'm not crazy, you're crazy. Right? You know? Because I would just sit alone and read and think and read more and then have nobody to talk to and then read and then finally talk to somebody and they're like, oh, God, what's happening? You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I read a lot of history books, you know, just sitting in my room, read a lot of world history, American history, Southern history, because I grew up in Louisiana, I just wanted to know. And one of the things I read that's always tripped me out, right, is that, like, after the Civil War, they let the slaves go. But the slaves still lived in the South. So you probably ran into your ex-slave, like, all the time. Which has got to be the most awkward ex-run-in in history. Just like, oh my God, there he is. Don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look. Hey! How are you doing? Are you mad? Like, what else? I mean, what's she gonna do? I actually, no lie, guys, I straight up, I had a nightmare one time. I had a genuine nightmare that I was a slave, which wasn't even the worst part of the nightmare. The worst part is that I was the worst slave in human history. I was so bad. I was yelling at the slave master, like, I'm not trying to start a revolution, I can't pick it up, all right? No, I passed out from heat stroke twice today, okay? You can whip me if you want, but I'm anemic, so I will bleed out. And that's on you, okay? Oh, you're gonna kill me? Please kill me. Please kill me. I would love for you. This heat is what's killing me. I've had hay fever for 2 months. And then they moved me into the house, but they didn't teach me how to read, so I don't know any recipes. So the food is so bad that even the slaves are mad. Like, everyone is mad at me. And then I almost burned the house down trying to boil some water, you know? To the point where Massa comes up to me at the end of the dream, and he's like, look, look, I don't know what to do with you. You free, okay? Like, I can't. I woke up fired from being a slave. You know? They have this thing that happens in New York a lot. I don't know if it happens in LA as much, but people will get a rescue dog, and this has always bothered me. They will get a rescue dog, and they'll tell everyone the rescue dog's story in front of the dog. It's right there. You telling its whole embarrassing life story. It's right here. It can hear you. You know what I mean? They do it all the time. Like, oh, this is Fifi. She's a rescue. A funny story. Found her under a bridge, raggedy. You know what I mean? Like dusty, struggling. You know what I mean? Only 3 hairs on her little head. You know. I tried to feed her. She even know how to eat. I was trying to feed her. She was like, she had no idea how to eat. And so I had to grab her little mouth. I had to chew the food. I had to put the food in her mouth. I had to make her little head chew. I'm a hero. I'm a hero is what I'm saying. I'm a hero. You know? I wonder if dogs do that to us. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if dogs go to the park and see other dogs, and they're like, oh, yeah, look, that's Bill. He's a rescue. Michaela left him and he lost his job in the same week, so he really hadn't been doing anything, all right? I can't even watch my shows because he's at home all the time. It's absolute. Sometimes I will poop on the floor just to give him something to do that day, you know? And he'll try to act mad, but deep down he's like, thank you for giving me purpose. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. He's a rescue. I'm just trying to do my part, you know? Help out. There's a thing that always bothers me. I get upset with people over how they use language just because if you use cliches, I feel like you don't care about this conversation. Like you're just using several things that have been said before. I think you're just making up things until I go away. That's what it feels like. Because people use the cliches without thinking about what they mean, you know? Like, people will say things like, have you ever noticed when people say, call me old-fashioned, it's always for something good? You know, people are like, call me old-fashioned, but you should hold the door open for the person behind you. Or like, call me old-fashioned, but the man should pay for the date. Bad things happen in old-fashioned, you know what I mean? Are you serious? No one's ever like, call me old-fashioned, but we need some slaves around here. We really do. Like, we really, there's no more overhead to pay, all right? If they can build the pyramids, they can make Subway sandwiches. I will not lose my franchise this year. You know? It's insane. No one's ever like, call me old-fashioned, but I don't like when women voice their opinion. That just always, it has always upsetted me. Feels gross. I don't like it. They're just throwing out ideas that I would have had if they had given me enough time to say it myself. But then they're talking, and it's like, ugh. You know? The other one that I really hate, that really kills me, it really upsets me, is don't judge a book by its cover. I get what you're trying to say. I get what you're getting at. You know what I mean? Don't judge just on appearances. There's more than what meets the eye. I get it, right? But that's a bad analogy. When was the last time a book had the wrong cover? Like, help me out. When have you been going to the bookstore to get a present for your niece, and you're like, I'll get Winnie the Pooh. She like Winnie the Pooh. And then you grab Winnie the Pooh. You just look at the cover. You don't read it. And so you grab Winnie the Pooh, and then you wrap it up, and then you give it to her, and then she unwraps it. And she's like, oh, Winnie the Pooh, I'm so excited. And then she turns the page past the cover, and it's Mein Kampf. That's never happened. No one's going to a bookstore just putting different books on different covers. That's insane. Sometimes I'll be in New York on the subway. I'll be like, he's about to be crazy. I don't know what he's about to do, but he's about to be crazy. I can tell you that right now. I'm just looking at him. He's about to be crazy, you know what I mean? And the train will come and it will leave, and he won't get on or leave the station. He just pulls his pants down. I'm like, see? That book was wearing its cover.
I've fallen down a very specific rabbit hole where basically I have been reading reviews like it's an addiction. I've been reading reviews from people from other countries. Okay, so they don't live in the US, but they come here from all over the world. And I have been reading their reviews of having Doritos for the first time. And y'all, I think we did crack again, because Because when they come over here, it's people from France being like, I had one, my friend offered me one, and then when I looked down, I don't know how much time it passed, but there were 6 bags on the ground. And this is my thing, like, maybe what we are doing with Doritos is bad, you know what I mean? Because when you read the back of a bag of Doritos and you look at the ingredients, they all are words longer than what should be in food. If you read the back of a bag of Doritos, it looks like the recipe for meth, right? It's just a lot of propylene glycol sounding stuff and everything. So no wonder they come from around the world. They come from Europe, Asia. They get addicted and everything. It's sad to watch. It really is, because then they're in the review, they're like, I just ate so many and I couldn't stop. And then if you're reading it as an American, you like, yeah, like this isn't exactly news or anything, you know? If anything, that's on you for getting 6 of the little bags. You should have got a family size bag. You know what I mean? If it's just you eating by yourself, you get the family size bag. It is fiscally irresponsible what you're doing right now. Just getting 6 bags of the little ones like you gonna stop or something. You can't control yourself. You're in it now. You know? And sometimes I see him. Sometimes I see him over. I'm like, you know him. You know him when you see him because you can check the fingers, right? You know? Let me see your hands. And you see the hands like addicted. Oh, what a shame. Because no other country lets their companies do to the people what we let the companies do to us as far as ingredients. Like, we're like, man, it's very good. It's so good. It is good. It's not good for you, and it does have a taste that should not be in a human mouth. And I can tell that because people who have been alive for a long time are like, I've been eating forever, and I've never eaten anything like this before. It's taken me to a place I don't know if I want to go to. And you're reading them and you're like, how is it this serious? But then you actually travel, because like I've traveled around the world and stuff, and I've been to some of these countries that talk about the Doritos, and I can tell they're going to get addicted, because when I go there and I eat their food, I'm like, yeah, y'all missing quite a few flavors. Your palate isn't ready. And you can tell that because you'll go to like the Netherlands or something like that, and they'll be like, oh no, don't eat what we make. Go to like a Turkish restaurant or something. If you eat what we make, you'll die. Like, don't do it. We make cardboard over here. Your stomach not ready for what we do over here. We just boil the water and eat it. Like, you know, but I was reading, there was one dude from Poland who was like, I don't know what to do with myself. He said, I'm reading it, I don't know what to do with myself. I've had every flavor multiple times. A friend gave me some at a party. They always started like that too. Like a friend gave me some while I was at a party. They started with that peer pressure type stuff. And that's how you can tell it's drugs for them. They're like, my friend introduced me to Doritos. I was young and innocent. Now I've been running up and down town trying different flavors and stuff. And this dude from Poland was basically, this is like on a Reddit post, and this dude was pretty much admitting that he was extending his stay in the States to spend more time with Doritos. He's like admitting to the open internet that he is overstaying his visa to eat as many Doritos as possible. He is risking ever being able to return to the country. I live in New York, and sometimes I'm walking down the street. Sometimes I walk from show to show instead of taking the train and stuff. And I was walking from one show to the other, and I was passing this bodega. And outside bodega was a dude that was over here like, you know, just standing there, doing one of these and everything. And I don't know, I've lived in some bad neighborhoods, all right? And when you see this, you know their day isn't going well, right? This right here, if you walk up on somebody and they're doing this, you about to be asked for a favor, right? Like, these are not the movements of someone that's just gonna wish you a good day, right? So you're about to hear a story when you see this. And so I'm walking by, and as I walk by, he's like, excuse me, sir. I was like, oh, that's different. What's up? How you doing? He's like, oh, I was just wondering if you could spare a dollar or two so I could get something to eat in there. And then I had a $5 bill in my pocket, so I handed it to him. He's like, oh, thank you so much. And to get some Doritos. It's like, I'm an enabler. I've been very excited to come to Dallas and spend time with you, make you laugh and everything. I love coming here because I grew up in Louisiana, and so we would come to Dallas a lot. Yeah, didn't tell you which part. And I would visit, Dallas sometimes growing up and stuff, and the thing that we're known for in Louisiana and in Texas is just amazing food. Right? Things that will change your life, things that you won't forget, amazing meals of every type, Like we're known in Louisiana for a lot of the Creole stuff, jambalaya and gumbo, everything like that. And then in Texas, it's a lot of the barbecue, a lot of good meats and everything. And then you see people in other parts of the country that will start a whole restaurant pretending to do what y'all do here, right? Like pretending to be the same. And then you'll go there. You might even walk into a, real Texas barbecue restaurant in Pennsylvania. And you're nice, you're cordial, because you're good people. And you sit down and you have a couple bites, and then you're like, no. No. That was good. You tricked me. You got me to come in. That's good. I like what you did there. It's because you got the font right. You got the font on the... That's what got me. You got the print right on the awning. And, ooh, okay. Because this isn't Texas toast. This is fat bread. You did fat bread. You didn't do any... Oh, you won't get me again, but that's nice. That's nice. Got to give it to you. Wow. And that's the thing. Is that sometimes, you have food that people really believe in, but it is bad. It's just not good. Belief doesn't make a meal, right? And especially when I look online, it feels sometimes like we're lost, And I can tell that we're lost just because of what I see happening nonstop. Also online, because you have a forum, because people can comment, I see people say some of the most beautiful things and some of the most hateful things to each other that we know people wouldn't have the courage to say in person, right? Sometimes you're in person and maybe you want to tell someone how great you think they are, but you're worried about being embarrassed, so you keep it in or you just give them a thumbs up, whatever the thing is, right? But online, if you're never going to meet this person, you can really let them have it, one way or the other, good or bad, right? And so I've seen some really hateful comments that I know people wouldn't say if they were in person with the person, right? And when it comes to cooking TikToks, I think some of this hate doesn't go far enough. I think that it's important to really let the people know. You know what I mean? Because you watching whole nasty recipes be made and then people just commenting the vomit emoji. It's like, no. We need to get into their personality. We need to get into their upbringing. We need to get into why they thought this was a good idea. Because they love to do it. They love to make nasty food and then film themselves, no shame, film themselves making the nasty food that should be illegal. The police should be kicking the door open as we speak. And not only did you not keep this a secret, you filmed it. You did an edit, and then you put it out for the world to see. You self-incriminated for no reason. And all this nasty food is somehow world famous, or it's Nana's. Stop putting bad food on your Nana. Don't do that. You know she didn't bring you up like that to be making this slop. You know that grandma is turning her grave right now, knowing that you're putting stuff like that on her name, because then the recipes don't make sense. They're like, you could use half a cup of sugar or salt, whichever. And it's like, that's a lunatic. That's an actual terrorist right there. That's wild that you're just telling people that. Why do you believe that? It's upsetting because then, back in the day, you know, this is what I'm told by my mom. This is what I was told by my grandma. You know, back in the day, if you had a recipe that was nasty, you couldn't just broadcast it to the world like that, the way the open internet has allowed us to. You had to poison people one at a time. You had to invite them over to your home. You had to say, come on, no, let me cook for you. And then you had to sit them down. And then they had to smell what was happening and decide to stay. It was a lot that went into feeding bad food to people back in the day. And then maybe if you got famous enough, you could have a cookbook, and then one of the cookbooks, maybe you falling off and nobody knows yet because they didn't make it themselves. But now, you see people, and the videos look good. Ingredients popping up on the screen, and then they pop off, and then they're chopped. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. But then you see them take a bite of it, and you can tell it's nasty because they only take one bite, and then the video ends. They don't serve it to anybody. Because you know you've been invited to someone's house that thought they could cook but couldn't. And then you took a bite. You're a good person. So you go ahead and you take a bite, and you know when you take that first bite, okay, I'm gonna have to get rid of this. I'm gonna have to figure out a way. If there's a dog nearby, but I'm not gonna swallow. No, you're not gonna get me. You take that first bite, and they're like, how you like it? Oh, you can tell you made something nasty if somebody take a bite and then can I be excused real quick? Where's your bathroom at? They just in that bathroom sweating, just like, what am I gonna do? It's a full plate. Oh, it's really horrible what people have done to each other. You know what I mean? It's just with a straight face, too. And now you got people broadcasting. Come with me while I make my Nana's world-famous mayonnaise grapes or whatever. Like, and they don't even know there's anything wrong with it because, once again, they weren't brought up with sense. You know? The amount of times I've been brought over to someone's house, and look, if anyone goes to the trouble of cooking for me, I appreciate it. You took your money, you bought the ingredients, and maybe you messed it up, all right? Maybe that's what happened, but I still appreciate the effort, right? As long as I don't have to finish it, you know? Because the amount of times I've been invited to someone's house and been fed shepherd's pie. You can tell from your groans. Like, shepherd's pie is already on the line. Shepherd's pie is crip walking a tightrope of nasty, right? One false step and shepherd's pie has fallen into slop, all right? You can't just do whatever you want with shepherd's pie and make it delicious. That's not how the world works. And I have been fed shepherd's pies that make you go, maybe I don't know how to eat. Maybe I'm the one. You know what I mean? Because I'll bite into a shepherd's pie and they'd be like, what just cut my mouth? Because that's what I hate. If you invite me over, at least know you cook what you cooked. Know you can do the thing that you said you... Don't invite me over and then be like, you know, I just went ahead and threw out the cookbook on this one and just went with the flow. Not with my mouth. The amount of shepherd's pies I've had where I've been like, all right, how good of a friend are they? One time I got invited to a friend's house and he made shepherd's pie and he put he plated us, right? Gave us the bowls of shepherd's pie or whatever and then fed the dog at the same time. And the bowls looked the same, right? And so I was like, what did you do for this to look like this? There's shepherd's pie and then look, I'm gonna lose some of you, but we have to talk about it, all right? I've been invited to friends' houses before where they have served, I won't even say served, they subjected me to their version of pot pie. Pot pie is unacceptable, all right? Pot pie is absolutely insane. First of all, I I knew I didn't have money growing up when my mom would take us to Walmart and we would go to the frozen section and she would grab that banquet pot pie, right? That red box of pot pie. In the only condition where a pot pie looks good is that picture. When they pull it out the oven and they do the slit and the steam coming up. And you don't even see. You see the steam and you see the crust of the pie. You don't see the slop that's happening below. You don't see the insanity that's having that hot sludge with peas and carrots and supposedly chicken. You're not seeing any of that. That's not chicken. I know chicken. Me and chickens are tight, right? I know chickens back and forth, left and right, and that is not chicken, okay? That's not chicken at all. I don't know what it is exactly, but it doesn't have the consistency. That's not chicken at all. Sitting there with a pot pie is disgusting, okay? I remember the first time my mama fed me a pot pie. Went, got it, put it in the oven, was telling me about it. Oh, I think you'll like it, everything. And then, she pulls it out of the oven. I remember my first bite of pot pie. I looked at my mama and said, Mama, I'm gonna work so we don't have to live like this. Like this, Mama, I'm gonna change our lives, okay? It won't be like this forever, all right? Because I know you doing your best. Pot pie, the hot sludge that is under the crust of pot pie. And then I had a friend try to argue with me about pot pie. He was like, no, the crust is the best part. Ooh, okay. Wait, if you think crust is the best part of the pot pie, I got good news for you. If you love the crust of a pot pie, I got a good word for you today. There's something called bread, all right? Oh, if you love the crust of a pot pie, wait until you meet bread. When bread comes into your life, it's gonna change. If you love the crust of a pot pie so much you're willing to endure a pot pie, then get ready to meet toast. You can have dry, crusty, delicious bread that has nothing to do with purple Greek sludge, whatever. Because that's the other thing. It's people's version of pot pie. So I've had pot pies that were just like the standard peas and carrots and chicken or a little bit of beef or whatever. But I've also had ones where they were like, I threw a little goat's cheese in there. I did. This is not up to interpretation. This thing is nasty through and through. Pot pie.